from Artist View Entertainment.
I'll drive.
No!
You know, baby, you're the only woman I've ever loved this morning.
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. First, an interview with an actor, someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed last week's interview with actress Monique Parent, the star of this week's sequel, our Valentine's Day romantic sequel, Mirror, Mirror 3. The Voyeur. Monique was great, just talking about how she broke into the business and, you know, her time on My Blue Heaven. Great movie. It was so cool to hear about that and so much more. So if you haven't listened to that, wait until after this review and go check it out. But man, I think when me and Jamie started this podcast, it was because of our love of how did this get made. I think this is the first movie that I can truly really say, how did this get made? Before we discuss Mirror, Mirror 3, I got to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
You know, Doug, I'm not even going to ask you how you're doing. I'm going to tell you how I'm doing. And when we discussed doing a sequel podcast, I'm thinking, you know, Die Hard 2, you know, maybe Aliens, you know, good movies. I never expected to watch a movie like this. And we saw a lot of bad movies during this journey that we're doing. This by far has been the worst movie I have ever seen in my life. I hated this movie so much. So much. So anyone who knows us and knows how much I hate movies, this is the worst one I'm telling you, if I could have walked away within 5 minutes, I would have.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't. And usually I'm here to defend and play, you know, public defender. But it is a terrible movie. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not, but it was truly, how did this get made? Because there's 6 people minus the one gang scene. And the shooting scene on the bridge, there's like 6 people.
I want to know
movie.
Who's this movie made for that they said, or the people watching the movie that actually like it, they were like, oh, I can't wait for another one, because they made 4 of them. They made 4 of these movies, and there's another one after this. So they thought that this movie was so good, we have to have another sequel, which I don't understand.
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I do agree with that. And the question I have, because we're going to talk about this movie, sort of like not in the same way. We're going to like go through it, but like, what is this movie? Obviously, Mirror, Mirror. It's about a mirror, but like, what is this movie
Doug,
about?
this might be my most angriest review that we're going to do. I'm really angry that I had to watch this. So yes. And that's one of the main reasons. I mean, there's many reasons why I hated the movie, but I really don't understand what this movie's about. Like, the girl in it, like, he keeps dreaming about. Was that someone that he actually dated in real life? Was someone just from his dreams? Was she? I don't know any. I really don't understand what this movie's about. There's no plot.
Yeah, if there is no plot. If this was a continuation of the second one, which the mirror is the continuation. I guess I'm guessing this mirror. If we would have saw them move into a house and there was a mirror and they took a sheet off the mirror and they're like, ooh, this mirror, and it started bleeding, then I'd be like, okay, this makes sense. But we got like the way the movie kicks off, again, we'll get right into it. It says from Artist View Entertainment. And we open up and it's like a POV of a car driving, just like weaving through LA.
But it was
right?
like a video game kind of like dream sequence kind of thing, which they do throughout the whole movie, but I don't understand why. Like, I don't know what that has to do with anything with the movie, because they go back to it a few times, right?
I can understand if they did that. Yeah, they do it a bunch. But if they did that and it ended up
right.
like somewhere, like the mirror was traveling somewhere,
or that's maybe like if you walk into the mirror, that's what you see, like, way to get, but like none of that comes into play. Like that driving part that they show like a video game, nothing comes out of that.
Yeah, it's almost like it's the opening
Yes.
for the mirror to tell you what's happening. Because every time when she looks into it, or later when Billy Drago, Anthony looks into the mirror, then you see like he gets to see like something that's going on. But it's like they had to show this beforehand. It was like the company was called like Driving in Traffic Productions, and you had to watch this.
Well, I'll tell you
every time.
what the movie reminded me of with that, and just the horrendous acting, the horrendous videoing. It looked like a student art film. Like it looked like a student art film that a college student made, that they needed to do a project by the end of the year, and this was the project. Then I could say, okay, great job on this movie. Great job. It's a college student. You don't know what you're doing. But to have people like, I would say some famous people in this movie.
I would say all these people at one point.
No, I was being sarcastic.
Later on, like Monique was in a ton over the years. No, but it's crazy when you think about it. David Naughton at this point in his career, American Werewolf in London. At this, I think this year he did this. Ice Cream Man he was in. So he's in like all these movies, like these like horror movies towards the end of his career. But like Mark Ruffalo is in this movie. Elizabeth Baldwin, she was married to Danny Baldwin at the time. And Billy Drago, I forgot. He had a monster movie in like the late 70s, 80s, but he always worked.
I read something about this movie that Ruffalo is in part 2 as a different character.
Yes.
Drago or Drago, what's his name? Drago? Okay.
Billy
Drago is in part 4 as a different character.
What? So he's not even an Anthony?
No, so like so apparently they like to keep them film in the family, because there's only 6 actors anyway, so they probably just rotate them around. I mean,
oh my god, what was the other movie that we covered that did that? There was another movie that we covered that did something similar. Like there was people from the other
the Slaughterhouse one, maybe. Okay, so let me ask you this: would you say out of all the movies we've done, this is the worst one?
Oh, I would say by far.
Okay.
But again, having said that, I will tell you one of my new like favorite characters is like the most over the top acting. Dude, it is. He looked like Mikey Day from SNL, or he looked for like Caveman Warrior.
I hated this character. Hated it. Oh my!
Julio.
The greasiest looking, like the worst actor. The only actor I think that might have been worse than him was the guy driving his car with the bandana. Like that guy might have been a worse actor than Julio, but Julio was horrible. Like really, like the acting in this movie. And okay, I mean, we're going to talk about the whole movie. We're going to talk about all the sex scenes and everything else. I don't even think the sex scenes were sexy. Like the sex scenes were like cringy. It was just, the whole movie was uncomfortable. It was just uncomfortable.
No, it definitely is uncomfortable, because if you're watching these scenes, not the sex scenes, but you're watching these ones to get information, like the movie changes throughout the movie. Like you would think, oh, this movie's about Julio, or this movie's about Ramon. No, it's not about, it's really not about, they have a little bit to do with what the movie seems to be about. It's like everybody has these little motives, like Mark Ruffalo. His motive in the movie is really just to bang Elizabeth.
Who's his brother's wife?
No, who's dating.
No, I thought it was his brother's wife, wasn't it? Or his girlfriend?
No, they're not. Oh. No, they were just like dating. She's his art gallery. She owns an art gallery,
which made no sense. And I in the beginning, I didn't even know, because he was also with another girl in the beginning, wasn't he? Or he keeps dreaming about that stupid other girl. But
so he
is that his ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, so he's sort of. He was sleeping, I guess so, but she was always with Julio, Cassandra, played by Monique Parent, and they were screwing around, I guess. But the fact that he lives there, why? But it looks like there?
that portion with Julio was like in the past, like past. Like was he around for Julio?
He was, yeah. He was sleeping with her.
But there was no
Julio.
Scene with them together like that, right? Was there a scene with him and Julio?
Well, there was no scene No, we never saw Anthony because Anthony was like coming there and Julio was running over people, I guess.
Okay. See, it was just so confusing. Like I honestly thought I thought there was a possibility that this was just like a dream girl and somehow he gets in. I don't know. All right. I don't know. It was just too much.
No, it definitely was. It definitely was. So, but even like the first thing in the movie, like so we have Cassandra. She's like lighting these candles, and then entering in the house is an FBI agent.
Just to let you know, I wrote down 1 minute in, and I already hate it. I'm just putting it out there. I wrote down 1 minute in, and I already hate this movie. And before we get any further, the way the movie starts was complete foolery. Because by the time the credits came on there, I'm thinking the movie's 20 minutes in. I'm like, all right, you know what? Fine. I'm almost done with this movie. And then all of a sudden the credits come on. I'm like, you gotta be crapping me. The movie's just starting now. It was 20 minutes before the credits came on. It really, when I tell you angry, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I was so angry.
Or that could be like a happy welcome because you're like, oh my God, it's only been 3 minutes. And it's like, oh, it's been 15.
Yeah, and then the movie just starts. So that's where it really was.
So this FBI guy goes into the house. He drinks milk right out of the carton. Then he goes upstairs and all he does is he screams like when he's like outside the door. He falls down the stairs. He has like his stomach's bleeding, like a hole in his stomach. And then the mirror starts bleeding. So I'm like, I don't know. I think this movie could have been like Rubber-esque. Like a tire killing people.
Oh, you thought no, I'm not saying, like the mirror is killing people.
The mirror. Well, why is the mirror bleeding?
Well, I thought the mirror was connected to him at first. Like somehow. Like, like if he bleeds, the mirror is going to bleed kind of thing. But I just didn't understand. I really don't understand this movie. And what you're saying would have made sense. And
I don't know if it makes sense.
Well, I think you know what? Now that you're saying that, I think that is exactly what it is. Based on the ending, I think the mirror is alive, and I think the mirror causes all this stuff.
Yeah. It's insane. So we get Anthony, Billy Drago. He's dreaming, and he's having this is the first of like 5
did not waste time
scenes. And in honor of our action sequel expert, I wrote 2 B's are crossed off the list. Batshit crazy. And boobs.
What were the other 2 B's?
Bombs. Right, big bombs.
Now, can big bombs count as body parts?
I guess it could be.
Okay,
I guess it could.
Because I don't think there's bombs in this movie, right? Is there a bomb in this movie?
Is there a bomb in this movie?
Okay. So
no.
Maybe we could count body part.
Oh, you know what? If you count exploding scorpions,
yeah, okay. Which, again, I didn't understand that either. Because they showed it in slow motion.
Yeah.
Okay. That whole slow motion scene, I mean, I know we're not there. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand. They showed a close-up of that scorpion getting squashed. How many times? And
and the chicken and the rotisserie chickens in the fire.
It's a student art
really
film.
Is.
That's all I could say.
Yeah, but the fact that we're like, it's so weird. And then we're watching him dream. Anthony is, and then we cut to him. He's just in the bed by himself, moaning and wiggling. And I'm like, why do we have to see this?
Yeah, he came across very creepy in this movie. It like uncomfortable creepy.
Yeah, I don't know what his deal. Like each character, I didn't really know what their deal was because, like, really, if you break him down, what was his like drive in this movie? Like to become a great artist and to be in this house that torments him. He moves into this house later on.
But
that doesn't happen at all.
But why? Like, does he know that his girlfriend or whatever she was murdered, or he doesn't like, is he trying to solve it? Is that why he went there? Like, I don't know.
Well, later in the movie, we see that they did like a sort of like blood oath.
Right.
So maybe he feels like if he goes there, she'll come
But they also,
back.
I mean, I you know, this movie is so like hodgepodge that I think we're going to be jumping around throughout the whole movie because it's not like there really is no plot line. So, like, do they even explain what she is? Like,
I think she's a witch, but they really don't explain it. But she is kind of a witch.
But is she a ghost? Is she alive? Because she's pretty much there for everybody. So, like, they don't explain that.
Yeah, no, I don't get that she, and where she like comes from. Like, really, we don't really ever see her come out of the mirror. No. If she like appeared from the mirror, that makes sense. No, she just like pops up. It's like she's a ghost.
She's like Beetlejuice. She's like the people of Beetlejuice, and she doesn't want anyone living there, and that's basically what it is. So this is like the original Beetlejuice, right? Did this come out before?
Well, this is after Beetlejuice.
So this quality movie came out after Beetlejuice. Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah, this is way after Beetlejuice. This is 95. This movie's 95. Wait, Beetlejuice. This 88?
Movie was made in 1995.
Yes, it was.
Like, I'm thinking, I really had no clue when this was made, and I'm thinking, like, this movie, the way it looks, it's got to be like early 80s. Like, I mean, like, it's just horrible conditions. No, it was made when good movies came out, like good budgets and good special effects.
Yeah, like Jurassic Park came out like 2 years before this.
Okay, they must have had a very similar budget.
So then we get, oh my God, dude. So then we get Julio. How about he gets woken up from his sex dream by Julio pinching him in the face?
No, he punched him in the face.
That's how his dream ended.
He punches
him. That's what it is. Yeah.
Imagine like sleeping and you getting up by getting punched. Like
by caveman lawyer. Like, who, when he went in for the audition, I wonder if he said, "How should I play this?" And his agent said, "Cheech Marin, Cheech and Chong talk like Cheech." He does. He talks like Cheech throughout this whole movie. Like in the opening clip, when he mentions, "You're the only girl I love this morning."
That line was just so cringe. It just, you know what it is? I think every line he says is cringe. It's just, you know, they made him so greasy. His hair is so greasy, and he just comes across so scumbaggish. It's like, yeah, what a gross character.
He is totally gross. So then we get this scene just before I'm going to play a clip. So we have Ramon shows up to the house, and we really don't know that he's just pissed at Ramon. And he like knocks him down. He said, "You're going to give me that $50,000 back." Again, we don't know anything that's happening. We don't even know. We don't know what
why,
he does. What the money's right. Drugs,
we don't know anything. Correct.
Guns. Yeah. No, nothing at all. But yeah, we got this gem. This
and the bandana guy
scene,
cracks me up. I mean, like, so ridiculous.
No! But here's the scene that I really wanted to talk to you about, because the effects don't, the sound effects, the fact that they run these guys over, and the music that plays is from like a 1990s video game, but the gun effects don't match what guns
okay, so that's one thing I was going to say. There's not one person in this movie that's shooting a gun looks like they know how to shoot a gun.
Dude, these two guys that are shooting at Ramon and Julio are shooting for a good 2 minutes beforehand. That guy gets it.
How many bullets are in the guns?
It seems like they have machine guns because they have so many. The fact that the guy, I love this, that he's out of bullets. He thinks, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw my gun at his head.
And he's like, it was almost like the weakest throw ever, because like Julio just like steps to the side.
Nobody messes with Julio.
He does look like caveman lawyer.
And lives to regret.
Fuck you guys!
I love these guys. Nobody, but he lives, nobody, what's he say? Lives to regret it? It's unreal, that whole line.
Look at the,
and just this.
I
Look
know.
at the traffic that's underneath. Think of this. And then I had to leave at the end of the scene. So he's sitting here with the gun. Where's
Now,
my money?
wouldn't you just grab Julio at this point? Like, if you're gonna die anyway, wouldn't you just hold on to him and like maybe pull him down with you?
Yeah. Exactly. And he uses
I know.
eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which is
And then there's
what
his
works
thug
there.
in the background with the bandana.
Yes.
He just looks like someone that they grabbed. Like, listen, you know what? Our main actor like couldn't show up, so just throw this bandana and sunglasses on. Don't say 2 words, and you'll be in the movie. Because
The fact that the one part I do love about that is at the very end, they didn't even think for editing purposes or continuation of the scene was that you heard voiceovers of people in the background like, oh my God, let's help this guy. And then the end of the scene is cars driving, not like cars stopped to check about this dead body. It just showed, it was stock footage of just driving.
so ridiculous. So, that scene alone just shows you what you're in for. And again, that movie was filmed in 1995, you said? That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the quality.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And he's just pointing the gun at him. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo is when you're picking people.
There was no, you know what? I really feel like there might not have even been a script. Was there a screenwriter in this? Like, I wonder if you go to IMDb and like, that is blank. Like, they have all the jobs and screenwriter, there's not a name there. Because
I do love the fact that there was 2 directors, because Monique was talking about how they would have to like run. There was these 2 houses that were the one that we see the outside of, and then there was another house. So I guess the one house didn't have like exactly what they needed. So they were like running from house to house with 2 different directors at each house.
Well, I can understand that. When you have such
chaotic.
a high quality movie like this, you're going to need more than one director. I mean, because there's so much acting going on that, you want to make sure you get the right shot. Oh.
Yeah, that's
2
you gotta
directors.
Make sure you get that right
what
shot.
was the budget? What was the budget?
2 Oh, I don't know. They probably don't release it for these.
I looked up. I looked
the
up
student-
Rotten Tomatoes, and I think there is no review on this.
But I did know on what is it called? Again, it's fan scores, but on IMDb, because not a lot of people probably have seen this movie. I think it's only at 2. It's 2.5, so it's not worse than Son of the Mask.
It's
but
2.5 Rotten Tomatoes.
No, on IMDb, so it's 2.5 out of 10.
You're telling me Son of the Mask got worse than this movie?
Yes,
that's amazing. Because I would take Son of the Mask. I would watch it all day long. Over this movie one more time. Like I would not watch this movie one more time, but I would, if I had to choose between watching this movie one more time or Son of the Mask over and over again for 24 hours, I would take Son of the Mask.
I love that. I wish there was a way we could make that happen. It'd be great for like charity. If we had like 1 million listeners, I would love to raise money for something and make you watch Son of the Mask for 24 hours straight. You have to watch a dog trying to kill a baby.
Listen, this movie got me angry. I would be willing to. I'd watch Terror Toons over and over again. And I mean, like, we've watched some bad movies. I mean, we really have. And you know what? This movie makes Terror Toons make sense. I feel like, and Terror Toons didn't make sense either, but I feel like I understood Terror Toons way more than I understood this movie.
You understood Grandma Hulk Hogan, Sam Elliott, yeah. No, but here, so I wrote down the full line. He actually says, nobody messes with Julio Menendez and lives to regret it. It's so weird. So here's a line that, oh my gosh. So I have this clip, but I don't want to show too many, but he when he comes home, pissed drunk, why is he pissed drunk? He seems like a guy that's killed people before, right?
Well, okay. Something in a scene, I think there's a scene that made me laugh is just one review ago, we talked about floorboards.
Yes.
And we have a floorboard in this movie that he's hiding something in. Like how common is that in movies? And where do you, and as our action expert said, where do you get them? Is there a market for floorboards?
Maybe Julio.
You know what? Maybe that's what he does for a living.
They don't in the mechanic too.
They don't explain it, so maybe that's what he does. He sells, hidden floorboards.
I don't know if the next sequel, Hangover 3, has a hidden floorboard, but I'd be mind blown if that happens. That'd be so funny. But no, he comes home and he goes, Lucy, I'm home. Cassandra.
He's, you know what? He's so gross. He really is so gross.
He is. But you would think they've been in this house a while, right? There's no furniture in the house. There's when they walk in, there's like that little chest where there's like a picture there. But other than that, there's a rug on the ground that is there for the purpose of covering when he puts the money down there. But other than that,
the house reminded me of the Munsters. It was the Munsters.
Oh, yeah.
It almost looks like it could have been the Munsters house.
Yeah. So here's by far, again, not the best line, as in the greatest lines ever, but the best line in this movie, the fact that it was written and somebody said it.
We don't know if it's written. We have to look at IMDb.
I hope so. He says, "Too busy with your stupid mirror," and she goes, "It's a free country. I can do what I want."
I wrote that down. Yeah. That's a quality line. It's a free country.
But just to say that back, it is so funny. The fact that they're really together. How did they meet? Why are they in love?
Within seconds, she's got a knife behind her back. Like, she's having a whole conversation with him with a knife behind her back.
Well, she's ready. She was talking to Anthony while he was dreaming wherever, which we don't know if that was him.
That's what I mean. Like, they don't
now
right.
or in the past. No, you're right. No.
They don't explain why she doesn't like Julio, why she's with Julio. It's like there's no explanation.
Now, if this was a continuation from the second one, it's on us because we didn't watch it. But she's not in the second one. Julio's not in the second one. So it's really like they start a movie at almost halfway through because we don't know.
Is it the same mirror in the first one and the second one? Can you imagine it's like a different mirror each movie? Well, is the mirror?
Well, dude, Talking Pony had a different pony on the cover of the movie.
No, it didn't even have a pony on the cover of the movie. It had a horse, right?
Well, one of the covers. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Well, wait, no, not even that. I shouldn't even. Sorry. There's not even a pony in the movie. So they had a different horse on the cover. Then the horse was in the movie, but they kept saying Talking Pony.
Is the mirror in SAG? Maybe that's why it might be a different mirror in each movie, just because they couldn't afford it. You got to.
Yeah, I guess if you bleed on screen, you get in SAG. So I guess the mirror would be in SAG. I would love if the mirror got nominated for a Razzie.
You know what? Based on the acting in this movie, the mirror is probably the best actor in the whole movie. So.
The mirrors at Comic-Cons or horror conventions, and it's just standing there, and then people are like, "I really love you," and the blood starts.
I really would laugh if it's a different mirror, because they have different actors. So, or the mirror, it's the same mirror but looks different. Since Ruffalo is in the second one, but he's playing a different character, so maybe the mirror plays a different character. See, that would be good. So now I'm in.
Oh my god! Now Jamie's in. He's set now. So then she stabs Julio, like you said. She had it planned to kill him. She stabs him. He knocks her down,
okay.
And then
he doesn't knock her. Well, he throws her down and she passes out. She literally she stabs him. He's bleeding. He just wasn't even a hard push. Push her down. And she does that old faint, she just and she's and she's out, she was out.
Yeah. So then we get those flashbacks that we didn't know. Well, I guess are they flashbacks or are they flash forwards? Because that's what happens.
They had the guy breaking his neck. They had the crab, and this
the scorpion. The scorpion snap.
Yeah,
and then. Shooting someone,
and
so it's a flash forward because he's still alive at this point.
Well, this is the point where the credits come in. Okay. So think about all we just talked about. All that was before the movie started. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you can understand my anger, thinking like, all right, because a lot of already's gone on. So I'm like, all right, fine. I'm already like invested in this movie. The movie's got to be a third way over. No, the movie's just starting now. I was so angry.
Oh man. And then you know what we do? We do get, this is what's weird. So we do get, that is in the past, because this is where we got the little 2 months later after the credits. So, but to me that doesn't make sense, because if we're looking in the past, Julio's alive when she stabs him, and then she has that flash forward of the rotisserie chickens and that whole scene that we get like 50 minutes in the movie, which obviously is his demise, spoiler alert. But
so there was a double murder in that house, and 2 months later someone's moving in.
Well, Julio didn't die there.
You're right. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a single murder at the house, and 2 months later someone moving in.
For a rental. So somebody bought that house, or did Julio rent it? Julio seemed like he had a lot of cash. So he's hiding under floorboards, but not owning the house?
Yeah.
So he damaged the floorboards of a house he doesn't own?
It's like not a safe house, but maybe like that's a house where he just goes there, has a little fun with his girlfriend, hides his things, because there's no furniture there. So maybe it's like not owned by anybody. Like, it's vacant.
Speaking of real estate agents, do you think the real estate agent's selling that house like, oh, it's 4-bedroom, an attic, large kitchen, and if you have some money you got to hide underneath that oval rug over there?
Listen,
you can hide money
that's a seller right there. It doesn't, it's some people like a big kitchen. Someone likes a nice family room. Others will like a floorboard that you can hide things in.
We're going to hide evidence that I don't want cops to find.
What would you use a floorboard for besides hiding something illegal? Right? I mean, because in the movies, it's never anything good. Like it's guns, it's drugs, it's money. So like, it's not like you're hiding Christmas decorations. It's usually something that's going to lead to either death or an arrest.
Honey, I got to go under can you upstairs? I got to go under the rug because I got you something special. Oh, you shouldn't have, honey. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The fact that he puts the money there in a house that she seems like she only is in the mirror room. She probably doesn't eat. I don't know.
Well, was there a kitchen there?
Well, there was a kitchen because Mark Ruffalo does Samurai Delicatessen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Never mind. All right. It was a very dark house, too. Like, it was... No.
They had no light. There was no bills. It was almost like it was like just
I'm
like
telling you, it was
lit.
the Munsters' house. The Munsters were probably the previous owners. They moved out, and that's it. It's been abandoned since.
So then we get Mark Ruffalo, and he's Joey, and he's getting yelled at by Anthony, Billy Drago. So they're unloading a moving truck. So they're moving into this house. Again, it's a rental. They move in. Elizabeth Baldwin, Daniel Baldwin's now ex-wife. So the thing that's funny with her, so she's like his manager, and she has like an art gallery. Later in the movie, when she sees him painting, she is like, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
But okay,
about
so
art.
Why is she even there? If she's his manager.
Well, they date. She's dating Anthony. Well, and then when he goes in the house with one of the boxes, she's getting ready to, on an open moving truck on the road.
Not only that,
blow him.
Now, I wonder was this part of like the props, or was he really sweating? Because he had sweat stains all over that shirt from lifting all the stuff in there. So I wonder, like, if they just left it in the movie. Like, because I can't imagine them having too much of a makeup department for this movie. So I wonder, like, if that was like real sweat, and they just like, yeah, we gotta leave it in. He's moving, so
we got to use the same shirt. We're gonna throw it in a bag. And I don't know if we mentioned it before. So Joey is brothers with Anthony. Anthony is with Carolyn. Anthony goes into the house. Carolyn wants to have sex with Joey
Well,
in this movie.
it
Just to
looks like
sketch
it
anyone
wasn't
out.
the first time they were together.
That's what was weird.
In the beginning,
it seemed like
right.
it wasn't, but then later we find out how timid he is about it. And even when he calls her to be like, "Hey, he's going out of town," which she should know that already.
What gave it away, I think, was like she was coming on to him really strong. He was avoiding it at first, and then he's the one that reached over and kissed her. So that to me was like, all right, they've been together, but he's got to be all smelly. He was all sweaty. Like that's when she felt like, you know what?
Yeah.
First of all, they didn't know how long the other guy was going to be in the house. Like you're gonna risk it with like you said, with the door wide open. Like the house is right there. I mean, like yeah.
It'd be great if they added in a scene like the neighbor comes over, like, "Oh, we got new neighbors. Let's bring over a pie." But then he sets up his art. So he knew because he's been in that house before. He knew about the mirror room. So I think he thought that he could get like inspiration. So he set up his art studio in that. Oh no. It's so weird. In the one scene, he sets up his art stuff in the mirror room. I swear he brings it all in there, but then it's in his bedroom.
Why is the mirror there? Because that's the only
one thing that was lost. There's not even that there's mirror there. There's beds there. And it seems like they didn't bring
beds.
Those,
I can see, because sometimes they're hard to get, a mattress is hard to get out of that rooms or whatever. Because I don't know. I can see a mirror, but like the mirror, because literally there's nothing in this house unless they brought listen, it's very possible they brought the beds in there. We didn't see them unload the whole truck. So they could have brought the bed there, but that mirror is the same mirror that's been there. So like everything's gone but the mirror. Like, why would he even and he's a dude. He's gonna need a mirror like that. I'm not. I don't think it's a sexist thing, but that's a female mirror. That's like I don't think a guy would have a floor mirror like that.
What's a male mirror?
One that has testicles.
So I don't know if you noticed this. They only showed it in like one shot, but later when I'll just mention it now so I don't forget. So in Joey's room, they show like this floor camera shot, and his bed is held up by cinder blocks.
Well, I can see that as a typical bachelor. Just not like, but that's like, okay, I would say a guy mirror, and maybe I'm wrong, just usually one that's like, halfway up, like, cause guys don't care what the bottom half looks like. It's always, as long as they can see their face, where women need to always look at their whole outfits and everything else. So I think that's a difference. I don't know. I mean, I don't think guys have floor mirrors. I don't know. Unless they do. Maybe. I don't know. I don't.
If you're a guy and you have a floor mirror, at sequels only.
Or can you tell us the difference between a female or a male mirror?
Yeah, that's the difference. No, but just the fact that maybe Ramon stayed in the cinder block room, but the fact that it was cinder blocks that were holding the bed up, I thought that was.
I didn't even notice that.
You're probably watching it like this.
I did fast forward a few scenes, so.
Oh, I did. No, I did too. No, totally. So then we get. So how about when? Oh my God. So when Joey gets into the basement and he steps on the rubberest, like the most rubber rat that I've ever seen before. It was so bad.
I mean, like, it's almost like they didn't try. They really didn't. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
So then we get to like a new character getting introduced. From this, we cut to David Naughton, who's in
I was going to say
creeper van.
He was such a peeper in this movie. And
it took us forever to find out what he was doing.
There's a few scenes in this movie that take a very long time. Like, there's a scene at the end that I couldn't believe how long that, like, this near the very end, how long they extend. You don't know what we're talking. Okay,
I'm sure because it seemed like a lot of them were. There was one with David Naughton talking to Billy Drago, and they were having a casual conversation. And I'm like, just get to the point.
This
Why
is not
are we
even
doing
talking.
niceties in a movie?
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about it. But first of all, a lot of times those FBI vans that are doing like the peeping and listening, all that stuff, kind of like hidden. Like, they don't want anyone to. No, he's right across the street blatantly showing that he's peeping on them the whole movie.
And is that like authorized what he's doing? Like,
Well, there was a
find out
murder
later.
there.
Like,
so I don't know. Are you allowed to, put wire traps or wiretaps, when there's been a crime before someone? I mean, I don't think they would. First of all, I don't think they would sell a house when there's still a crime being solved.
oh, that is true. They wouldn't rent it out and be like, "Yeah, some chick got murdered here, so there might be."
We're still on the case, but yeah, sure, move in. I mean,
but there's floor.
You can hide something on the floor, and we might
so
just show up, walk in your house without asking at any time, which he does.
Yeah.
And we're gonna wiretap your phones and your rooms, because it's still a case going on. But feel free to move in.
Yeah. So amazing. Oh my God. But yeah, he's just like peeping. He's a detective. And dude, and then the first time we find out like what is going on when it comes to Cassandra, like what her power, I guess, is, Anthony wakes up
arguing.
And she's like,
but they're having
alive.
an argument.
Well, I don't know if the first time. Is she already pissed about Carolyn?
I think so.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it was. I think that's her. Because he sleeps with Carolyn, so I think that's the next time.
Are you sure?
The first.
Let me see. I have FBI peeping and then arguing with the ghost, and then there's a gun shooting. Right? Isn't there a gun shooting coming up that like is the most ridiculous gun? Because they go back to.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes. No, I think they do argue a little bit, not as much as later after he sleeps with Carolyn, but yeah. No, but she's because he's pissed off. Like, what's going on with you? Because she says, "Warm me like you."
So
does he?
Does he think she's really there at this point? Does he think she's a ghost? Does he think he's dreaming? Like what is going on at this point? And what's going on in his mind? Like, they don't really.
Yeah, because he really doesn't talk about it because it's really we're just seeing his perspective. So it's not like he's talking to Joey and saying like, "Oh man, this whole thing's going on." So he doesn't really talk it out ever. There's one point when he says like, "What are you?" Like even like straight up says that. But other than that, for us as the audience watching, we don't know if he's
correct,
like seeing just a figment of imagination because she didn't come out of the mirror.
Correct.
She just appeared.
They're making
near
it
the door.
seem like that she's like he's dreaming every time of like thinking it. That's what they're making it seem like. So at this point, you don't think she's real, and you think she's part of his hallucination in his mind.
And at this point, this is when they start having sex, and the mirror is watching. We get the POV of the mirror
a few times throughout the movie. So the mirror is definitely a peeper.
Lot, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
the mirror is a peeper. And then Anthony wakes up, and she's not there, but he has woken up to these. Dude, the weirdest part of the movie was the fact that we thought there were rats
the weirdest
in the
part?
attic.
I mean,
well, I think there's a lot of weird parts. But no, the fact that we hear the rats, and then the next time we heard the scratching, I guess they like his ear got more in tune to it. It was her making sounds.
But the rat thing went on for a long time. I mean,
yes,
it was almost too long of what they were. I know.
Oh my God. And then we get, so Kobach, David Naughton, he shows up to chat with Joey.
And he literally just walks in. He literally just walks in.
He just walks in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't, you know what? They don't seem to question it either. They're like, oh, okay. And they start talking, like having a conversation. Like it does, like, it's a very weird scenario because they don't seem phased.
No, and it seems like Joey, it almost reminds me that he's like, just like, I don't know, he's like very, it's like to himself, like he has to depend on his brother. He seems like, not like, I don't want to say slow, but there's something like off with him because, yeah, he's really like open to, detective's going to come into this house that we just moved into. Like, what would we have to do with this detective? Like, what is he really here for?
Well,
there's no reason.
Considering Joey's moving in with his brother and his brother's girlfriend. Like, is she moving in too? Like, does she live here too? The art dealer?
No, I feel like she lives in a posh place in LA or something. That's where I think she should live. The way she dresses, I don't think she's living there.
Why people can't live in a house like that and dress nice?
No, you can't look at that. You have to be greasy. You have to have armpit stains. It comes with the territory. Or like how like it looks like Anthony doesn't eat. He looks so unhealthy and so skinny.
Everybody in the movie looks unhealthy. Like they really, I don't think there's one person. You know what? You know who looks the healthiest? The guy with Julio, with the bandana. He looks the healthiest.
Yeah. And then Joey, like right away, hey, what happened to your leg? And then we get the black and white flashback of which we got many times. And the line when he goes, hey, detective, taking any good bribes lately? And then he shoots him in the leg, which it makes no, even, you know, what's funny? We knew we were getting a piece of a memory. And even throughout the movie, which a lot of movies do this, and it's obviously it works in other movies, but we get a little bit more, and then you get the full picture at the end. But this one, when we got the full picture, I'm like, oh, I guess that makes sense. It seems like this guy's here for some reason. There has to be some crooked angle for Kobach. But the fact that his response is perks of the job, kids. I'm like,
I did write down, and again, I'm trying to remember it, but I wrote down the longest death scene. Was that Julio's? Was there a long Julio death scene?
well, no, this is what's confusing too. Is when does Julio really die? Because it seems like he does get shot by Kobach.
He does. No, he does.
It seems like that. But no, he gets killed in the rotisserie chicken stepping on scorpion thing by that girl. Like a random woman, the woman he's holding and says, yeah, you're the only girl I ever loved this morning. She is somehow controlled by Cassandra to murder him.
But I think he does get shot also. Wait, listen, he got stabbed by the other woman.
Well, he definitely gets shot by Kobach, but it's like
so he got stabbed and shot, and he's still alive.
Still alive, man. He's really a cat. He is a cat. But the like I mentioned before, the dialogue before Kobach, between Kobach and Anthony is so awkward. But the only thing I did love was the fact that he asked a question that I was like, you know what? It would be too on the nose to like almost make fun of the situation for it to happen. But he did. He said, well, why are you living here? I'm like, holy shit. Amazing. Because he says, of all places, why are you living here? And then his response was like, it was inspire me. Because he knew, because he watched the house, he knew that Anthony was like sleeping with Cassandra. So, and
I wouldn't be surprised if he had video cameras there.
Oh, he seems like he might. He seems like he might. So then we get like another, he's painting. We get like another sex scene. Yeah. And he's having like, and how about the fact that Joey comes in and interrupts his horny like painting moment?
There's just so many uncomfortable scenes in this movie that almost seem natural for all of them. Like it's just so bizarre. Yeah. Like it's like is this a Skinemax movie? Like was this on like?
Well, it's that whole genre of the B movie from that 90s, the B like
but this seems thriller, definitely doesn't seem like a B movie. This seems more like it would be way below B. This is not a B movie. So
yes, no, yeah. So then Carolyn shows up, and right away, like while Anthony's upstairs,
she doesn't Joey, waste time. She doesn't care. She doesn't care.
And what does she do right after that? She's horny. She goes upstairs, sleeps with Anthony. Before she somehow thinks this would be like a way to get a significant other, somebody you're into, to have sex with you, she makes fun of his art. She goes, what's this supposed to be?
Well, she is an art professional.
How does she know what to choose?
Oh, man.
But then she does mention again, and she does kind of mention something that makes sense for us as the audience. She goes, oh, you're painting Cassandra? Because I think she saw the photo there, and she goes, what did she like cast a spell on you? And I'm like, that's the only reason he could be here. Like, there's no really under his BS reasoning to be, oh, I'm here because it's like inspirational. It fits my painting style. It has to be like he's drawn to it. but it took him 2 months
I don't
to move
think
in.
he's drawn to it. Listen, it could be like, I mean, if she was there with Julio, but also with Anthony, she probably had Anthony come over there all the time. Right. So
She did, yeah.
So it's there. It's like, so I don't think he was drawn. I just feel like he misses her so much that he's like, you know, this is where we would always be. So I need to be as close as I can to her. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with Cassandra.
I just don't know. Yeah, I guess.
You know, I don't know. Who knows? Or unless maybe he had a relationship with the mirror.
He was with the mirror. Maybe he liked that.
So
mirror.
maybe while Julio is with Cassandra, the Cassandra's with Anthony. Anthony's also with the mirror. You know, and now we have an issue. So that's the whole thing. So the mirror's mad at Cassandra.
You know what?
Cassandra there, so Cassandra can't leave. See, it all makes sense now.
That makes sense. Maybe growing up, his dad said, "Hey, long mirrors aren't for men," and he's like, "I always wanted a long mirror."
Okay, see, so I didn't make that up.
And
good.
Yeah, and he gets his chance to have a long mirror. So while they're sleeping together, so it's Carolyn and Anthony, and the mirror's watching again. And then, dude, the fact that Cassandra just appears in the room and Anthony's like zones out, and it's like a dream sort of sequence. And then the next thing we cut to is Carolyn basically like, it's over. Like, she's like,
well, again, they don't really explain if Anthony's really seeing her or he just keeps because she seems to only come when he's laying on the bed. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Isn't that how it always works?
I realized that
That's
after I said it. But, okay.
No, I know you know exactly what you're saying. But the fact that he is in this, so he must be attached to her. The fact that she must have some kind of spell that while he's like awake having sex with Carolyn, he imagines her there.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think, listen, you know what? I mean, based on how the movie ends, maybe it really doesn't end that way, and that's still part of the dream. Because everything always happens when either right after he has sex or when he's laying down sleeping. That's when all these things seem to happen. I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason.
Crazy.
I mean, so.
So then we get again another flashback, and this is where we find out like what's going on. We get Kobach, he's in the van, and this is Julio crying, and he says, "I can't go back to jail. There's $400K in the house, and it's yours." So that's why Kobach's there.
That Julio was just joking around, like playing like dead, like playing possum, so that Kobach would like turn around and then Julio would attack him. Like, I didn't think he was serious about crying, but he really was. He really was
He was, yeah. Well, no, he does kind of fake it when we see the final flashback. Yeah. So then Cassandra's pissed off because, Carol, like Anthony, did he cheat on her? Or they
weren't really dating, right? So does that, okay, so let me ask you this. Does that count as cheating if you have an affair with a ghost? Because a ghost really is not there. So does that, like, a ghost doesn't really exist, I guess? So does that count as cheating?
Honey, it's not real.
I'm just putting it out there. Anyone that, knows ghosts.
Well, we did get... So, like in Ghostbusters, when Dan Aykroyd gets a blowjob in a PG movie, like, he's not, if he was married at the time, his wife can't be mad. I guarantee that was the topic of like Steve Wilkos or like Maury Povich. Like, my husband cheated on me, but it was a ghost.
You don't think that was on Jerry Springer at some point? That is a complete Jerry Springer, like, yeah. So, and then you have the ghost in the audience, like, yelling.
The ghost gets up to the... Yeah, well, I'm sleeping with that ghost too. You son of a bitch. But you just can't make it. So this next scene, you really can't make it up. So Cassandra makes Anthony look in the mirror, which the mirror can so it turns into a TV somehow, and he could see what happened to
Not a
Julio.
TV. It shows like the past. Like it's almost like a crystal ball kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a crystal ball mirror. Yeah. So he's able to watch what happened because he says, "What happened to Julio?" This detective came by and he says that he's missing because I don't know if they ever knew Julio was really dead or something.
Did they even know who Julio was?
I don't think. Well, what did he do? They
Nothing.
didn't even mention anything. It's not like Kobeck said he was into some serious shit or he was a gangbanger. We just know he had $400K and he threw a guy off a bridge and he shot another guy.
We don't know anything.
Really,
I guess we assume he's a drug dealer just the way he looks. He has that look to him.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I'm offending any drug dealers out there, but he did have that look.
If you have greasy hair, you're gonna get pulled over.
If you look like a caveman, then you're probably a drug dealer.
Yeah. Yes. So then we get the whole scene that I mentioned the line already. You're the only woman I love this morning. And because this is right after he was stabbed. He gets stabbed and then they show him get picked up Ramon. And he has that bandage on him. So he's going to party with these girls right away. But even the whole scene when he pulls up in the Jeep and he throws a wad of money at these people, then goes down, busts a quick burnout, comes back to party with the whole thing.
There was no need for it. It's just so stupid. There was no need for it.
He steps on a scorpion. It explodes.
But why did they make it seem like that was such an important thing with all those flashbacks? Because they showed that scorpion so many times, like it was something important. It was just to show part of Julio's last night.
Yeah. And
yes,
the two
yes,
rotisserie chickens in the fire. But the fact that she's kind of narrating this, Cassandra, because she talks about what she did. But the fact that Julio's girl that he was sweet on. So did Cassandra take over her body, pay her? Because the very end, when these FBI type agents or a rival gang, I don't know who showed up to shoot all of them. It was Julio taking a bunch of them out, but the one that kills him is the girl that he was
let's be honest. I mean, Julio seems the type of guy that more than one person is going to want to kill him. So whether it was Cassandra, I don't think it had anything to do with Cassandra. I just think that he's such a scumbag that he had a long list of people that just wanted him dead.
Well, no, she said a line that made you think as the watcher that she had something to do with it. She said, this is what happened. Almost, she was trying to put fear
maybe
into
she
Anthony.
hired that girl. That's
what I mean. So she must have did something.
I don't think Cassandra today possessed, like the dead Cassandra possessed to do. I just think, I don't know.
Well, was she dead already? Did she die when she passed out when he hit her?
Is that they don't show her again, right?
That's true. That's true.
What'd she die of?
Boredness, or maybe from inhaling
sleep.
all the candle wax.
Well, you know what? It's mirror, mirror. There's a mirror in Snow White, so maybe she died like Snow White, was basically dead in a coma, right? I don't know.
Is that what happened?
You don't know the story of Snow White?
Well, I just remember mirror on the
she eats an
on
apple
the wall.
and then falls asleep, and she
falls asleep, and then the guy kisses her. Yeah. Oh, do you think her body's in the house
still
somewhere?
sleeping? See, so that's why she's still alive. In some maybe that's part of her trying to. Maybe that's why she's trying to always have sex with Anthony so she can wake up. Listen, Mirror Mirror is a take on Snow White. I wonder if the first one has anything to do with just. Do you think there's any dwarves in the first movie?
Oh, I don't know. These movies sometimes can go that way, but I don't know. But then Carolyn, and then the whole time the mirror's bleeding. This whole time the mirror's bleeding. Watching this, it's almost like the mirror gets excited. Yeah. That was
so
my
do you
work.
think that's what it is? That because the mirror is always peeping, that blood is the way of showing the mirror being excited?
It's the way it talks.
Because
it's the
they
way it shows
really
emotion.
don't explain why the mirror is bleeding.
They could have gave us
anything.
anything. A little like 1 minute thing of her talking about it.
Yes,
like,
I'm
nothing.
Cassandra's saying I'm somehow connected to this mirror, and like what I see, the mirror, or something like that. Nothing. So all we see is a mirror peeping and bleeding.
And then Cassandra puts it on the line. She goes, "If Carolyn comes back to this house, she's dead."
That's a threat.
That is a threat, especially that he knows after watching this video, like, that this is possible. So then I had to, so this is where we get Joey walking around the house with a Walkman, and now he's making the most aggressive peanut butter and jelly sandwich ever. And the fact that we get a POV of something watching him, nothing's there.
Yeah.
He drops the peanut
They make
butter.
it look like it's slowly walking towards him. It is very aggressive.
Okay,
not only aggressive, it is the sloppiest peanut butter and jelly sandwich ever. Like, he doesn't even smear the jelly. Okay. Do you ever get a like dance and like make sandwiches like that? Like, you see this a lot in movies.
So here's what I have to mention. I don't do that, and I guess people do it. But look at the sandwich right now. It's perfectly cut in half. He did like 3 takes of like hitting corners and missing it, sort of, and he just touched. Was that a dead bird? And look what he does.
Wait, not only that,
hands.
he acts like that's normal. Like that, a bird just fell out of the closet, the cabinet. He picks it up. He's touching it. He puts it on a counter, goes back to his sandwich, and walks away. Like, not like, first of all, not freaked out at all. Again, if I see a dead bug, I'm like, I'm out of there. I'm washing my hands. I can't, he sees and that wasn't a small bird. That bird was like the size of a turkey. I mean, that bird was huge. And he acted like that's something that usually happens. Every time I make a peanut butter and jelly, some kind of bird falls out of the cabinet. No big deal. I've seen it before. Like
that bird was so big that it took work and effort to put that into the cabinet. He had to like turn it to get
that
it
was
out.
That was like the people behind the scenes, like shoving it in that cabinet and quickly shutting the door because the bird was so big. That's how it was. 100%.
So then we get Joey. He's tasked with like going to get all the rat traps. So he has all those. He wants to go into the attic to be able to. So this man, I thought like, this is where I thought maybe they go in the attic and like something is there, but he couldn't get up there. It's like they couldn't go into an attic because they made it so he was able to put the traps in the attic, but we didn't see him.
Is that how you would put mouse traps up? Is basically just laying them out without seeing where you're putting them? Not at all.
No.
Why couldn't he go up there?
They probably didn't have a location for an attic. It must have been that, honestly. Why wouldn't they do that? Why would they have him get this tiny ladder that he would have had to stand on the tippy top to get to the top?
Then what's the point of even having
it? Made no
that?
sense.
Because they
could have changed that. They could have said
in the
rats
garage,
were in the basement
whatever.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where we get Kovac. He's waiting outside and he's getting this is where we get the other flashback that this is the third time, but this one is where we get him saying, "Hey, let's split the $400K." And then he takes Kopech's gun and then he shoots him in the leg. So that's where we get like that little added, like, oh, Julio was fake crying. He took the gun, shot him. Again, if you told a guy that you have $400,000 in your house, you're going to shoot him in the leg. Julio threw a guy off a bridge.
At the minute Julio told Kovac, why didn't Kovac just kill him right there? Because he knows the money's in the house. So what does he need Julio for?
Exactly.
And is Kovac really FBI? Like, I wonder, like,
I think so.
who, like, I wonder who he is. Cause like, they really don't, he never shows a badge once. And he's constantly walking in the house. He's like, I wonder if he's just like a regular, maybe he's part of the drug dealing team or something. And he's just pretending to be FBI. Because why wouldn't he have just killed Julio right there? And then keep the $400,000?
Yeah, for himself, or Yeah, no, why would he do it? But I did like Julio's line afterwards because he let him live. He goes, I feel like a freaking Boy Scout.
There is absolutely no script in this movie. I'm willing to bet. And if there is, I want to see the guy who wrote this movie and what else he's done. Because I could see this being like the only movie he's ever written.
Oh,
and
dude,
I would love to see
really,
that, it just shows that, student at NYU film school. Because, I mean,
and this is where Kopak, again, he just walks into this house. Like, he has, like, serious balls that he thinks that he could just, like, he really
does what he
does
wants,
whatever he wants.
They all act like he's kind of a friend because doesn't he help him with the mousetraps? Like, sort of. I mean, or he's like, but he's just hanging out there while he's putting the mousetraps up there. Like, again, they don't question, what are you doing in my kitchen? What are you doing in my house? Like, they don't question it once. They don't ask him once.
So I have this guy's IMDb up, the writer. His name is Steve Timon. He did actually like a couple cool movies. He did Ring of Fire with hopefully future guest Don the Dragon Wilson. And then a couple other ones. He did Witchcraft 5.
Ring of Fire? You know what? Wait, yeah. He wrote another sequel?
He wrote Witchcraft 5.
We need to get him on this podcast. we got to get him. I have way too many questions for this movie.
And he was actually an actor in one. Another sequel he did was called Deadlock, A Passion for Murders. I don't know.
Okay, that just sounds like it would be very similar to this movie. I'd rather watch Okay, so I'd rather watch Witchcraft 5. We got to work on getting this guy. We got to get him. Just for getting answers for this movie alone. I need to know about the script.
Maybe I'll let you do that interview so you can come up.
Okay, I'll tell you right now.
Like
I'm not doing my first interview for a guy that wrote this movie. That's what.
Well, if you want to get him, I don't know. Maybe I'll cut this part out. Yeah. So then we get Kopak again, and this is where like it's so weird. Like we know his angle now because he wants to get the money, but he goes. So one of Julio's gang members said Julio killed Cassandra. So I think already at this point, Anthony knows that Cassandra's dead, right? That he's seen her like in the house and he's sleeping with a ghost.
Well, if he doesn't, he hasn't questioned once why is she like creeping in the bedroom.
He only says it later in the movie. He says like what? Well, I think the last time
he's questioning, like what are you kind of thing. But all this time though, he hasn't questioned why she's in the bedroom, why she's in the house. So like he's got to know she's dead. Because otherwise, what would she be doing in the bedroom? And like, why is he not asking her? Like, what are you doing here? like
what are you doing here? No, that's so true. So then this is when he has his art show in San Diego when he doesn't know when he's going to be back. But he's like, hey, Joey, if you want the house for a little bit longer, if you want to have a girl here. And he goes, oh, Anthony, I'm giving up girls for a while. And then within seconds, he calls Carolyn and goes, hey, Carolyn.
Well, no, him and Carolyn discussed it before Anthony left.
They did.
Because they said Anthony's leaving, so they already knew. So he was already setting it up.
But then he was setting it up, but then he was a little nervous about it. And then the fact that he called right away and was like, do you want to mess around?
Okay. And Ruffalo pulls a Van Damme.
What are you talking about? Seeing his butt?
And just rolling up the end of the underwear all the way to the top that Van Damme does in like 3 of his movies. He pulls a Van Damme. Like I almost feel like Van Damme took that from Ruffalo. Because that's and it's always tidy whities. It's always but that was such a Van Damme move.
Yeah. So then what do they do? They meet at a bar, and how about the way they come back? Definitely fake drunk. Like, not saying you get drunk on set. They're stumbling around, falling into the door, bumping into stuff, and then this is when she asked Joey about Cassandra. because she goes, why would Julio kill his wife? I don't know, because he's a psychotic drug dealer. So I guess that's the only time in the movie that we hear like he's a drug dealer.
This was kind of uncomfortable to watch Ruffalo in this role, just because you know what he is today. He's such a big actor and such a and he comes across as a really nice guy, in his interviews. And to see this kind of movie from him and see this again, non-sexy sex scenes, it's just weird. It was very weird to see him in this role.
You got to start somewhere. And his line, I don't know if you caught it, because maybe they didn't want to get sued by a certain show that wasn't even on the air anymore. But he says, yeah, that's what they do on that show, Miami Heist. Yeah.
That is funny.
So then we get them starting to hook up, and the mirror. Then we cut to the mirror in the other room, and it almost like, I guess it knows that Carolyn's back in the house. Like it knows.
Do you think the mirror moves from room to room?
I would love that. Honestly, I would have understood that more than anything. So Carolyn, when she goes to the bathroom, if the mirror was in there, dude, I would have loved that. And maybe that would be even cooler. Could you imagine if this whole movie was the mirror killing people? I know it's not great, but the mirror, like, you look into the mirror and you see who your true self is or something, and then they die.
So you're saying that, like someone goes in a shower, you see the mirror around the corner going like this, and you see,
yeah,
and all you see is the top half of the mirror.
Michael Myers peeping, mirror, the same dipping out of the shrubs. Jason Voorhees, yes, the mirror is just like the way you carry a heavy mirror, you don't pick it up, you just lift like one corner, so it's like it's walking. That's what I would want.
I just love the peeping around the corner. Like all you see is like the top part of the mirror going inside.
And it can use the sun or light to reflect to get people to look the wrong way, and then it can run.
And then they would always question, how'd the mirror get here? I don't know. Did you bring the mirror?
Yeah, I brought the mirror. Yeah, I carry this big mirror in my room. But here's there's so much to question in this movie. But this scene was so weird because when she goes to the bathroom, she's gone for seconds, right? And he's like, hey, Carolyn, are you okay? I'm like, dude, she just got to the bathroom.
Literally, it was seconds. Yeah. It was. This whole scene was very bizarre.
It was because he couldn't hear her, she couldn't hear him, and he's still yelling. The door's locked, so you're thinking like, oh man, she's gonna die like in the bathroom, like she's dead. Nope. Bathroom door opens. She walks out. She goes to the door, and they can't hear each other, right? They can't hear each other, and then suddenly they can hear each other because he says a dumb line that I don't know why they had to do it to give it away. Because they're saying push, pull, and then when Cassandra shows up she's standing there like with her arms out randomly, but
it made it look like she was in once she went in there, it was like a different dimension or different like a Freddy Krueger kind of and that's why they couldn't hear each other. So that was kind of cool, but then it ended up being like nothing. Like it was
but then it got ruined because he goes, hey, Carolyn, who are you talking to? And I'm like, wait, you can't hear her.
It was so stupid. They had something, and it totally went. I think it's something coming up soon, but I thought there was a cameo by Psycho Gorman in this movie.
I never saw
but you know what Psycho Gorman looks like.
I know he does.
Wasn't there like a blue creature with the FBI agent? Or there was some kind of creature?
Oh, where was that?
The FBI. No, the FBI
or?
sees him or something. I don't remember. Again, I just wrote a little note, but he
Oh, was that when he went into the basement? Was there something in the basement? Maybe
it looked like Psycho Gorman. There was something that he was fighting with or something. I don't remember.
No, I think it might have been in the basement. I think he was seeing stuff when he got down there. But how about the way Carolyn died? She's like, you, and she was backpedaling, but it looked like she was on roller skates. Like when Cassandra Monique was pushing, it was like the camera was on a roller skate, and then the way she went over, dude, how funny was it? The way she was on the ground, it looked like they said, "Okay, lift your body up." Okay, action, and then she fell in her
The
head.
rest of this movie is so cheesily done. Like from this point on, like this is where one of the bees. That shit goes all over the place. I mean, this is all, and it's just so cheesy. There's a scene here. I think it's with Anthony and Cassandra. That it's so slow motion, so long of a scene that I forget what part of what.
Well, pretty much the rest of the movie is that final scene because Anthony comes home to find Joey. Because Joey heard her hit the ground, he runs, and I love he's like, "Oh, it's not. Hey, Anthony, it's not what you think." Like he happens to come home right at that time. And again, when he comes home, it's light out, so they boned, they drank in the middle of the day, they slept with each other, and it was still daytime. Or is this like the next morning?
Or maybe he's just really quick.
Maybe it's really quick. He went to his art show in San Diego, and
I like how he's saying, it's not what it looks like. Well, right now, we're worried about a murder. Like, I mean, like she's like dead. So is he saying it's not what it looks like for murder purposes? Or is it?
Yes, that's what I was saying too.
Or is it because I wasn't hooking up with her kind of thing? Like, or was he just throwing them both together?
And it's like he knew because he even said like, "Yeah, well, it looks bad, Joey." And then I think he even says like, "You're banging my girl," and then he carries her out of there.
So,
and meanwhile, the mirror's bleeding. So when the mirror bleeds, it means the person's dead. There's no chance to survive, right?
Well, Cassandra's alive, or is she?
I don't think she's alive. I don't know. So then we get Kovac at this time because the door's left open. He walks in the house.
Wait, I think at this point Kovac has a key. I think he has a key at this point because he shows up and just walks every single time, anytime. He must have a key.
So when he goes into the basement, this is what we have. Oh, I think I know what you mean with Psycho Gorman.
Okay.
I think I know what you mean now. So when he's looking around in the basement and he goes into a room. Okay. And he sees these. Oh, Cassandra already startles him, I think. And she's telling him about Julio. And I think he asks her about the money. She says there's no more money.
Hold on. And again, no one's questioning why they're talking to Cassandra. Throughout this whole movie, now one person questions. Okay.
Nobody. Well, not the fact that he doesn't question. Then when she like kind of shows him this room that you think she's going to lock him in, there's skeletons. There's dead bodies in this room, and still he doesn't turn around. He's a detective.
Or is he?
She didn't have a gun on him. Oh, right, yeah.
Or is he? So that's why I think that he might not be a detective. He might, again, he might be just playing one to get to the money.
So one day he was at the bar. He overheard this guy has a lot of. He's like, I'm gonna play
because they
FBI
really
agent.
don't. He doesn't arrest anybody. He never arrests Julio. He doesn't kill him. Like it's very possible that he's just like, all right, he overheard the conversation. He knows he's got a lot of money, and now he's like, how am I going to get into that house anytime I want? Well, let me be a detective. I can walk in anytime I want. That's.
Oh my god! And then and then he gets screwdrivered in the back. That's how he does.
Yep.
So who are the other bodies? People that Julio killed?
No explanation.
Or maybe the real estate agent, maybe Cassandra was taking the calls,
or just
set up everything.
Previous people that lived there that Cassandra, like Beetlejuice, they're not going to leave. I'm going to kill them.
I'm going to kill them. Or maybe it was the Munsters. Maybe they didn't want to sell. Julio wanted the place bad. He's like, 13.
I did notice one of the dead bodies looked like it was about 7 feet tall. So it's very possible.
Feet tall, and played for the played for the LA Dodgers in the 50s. It's still one of the best ones if you go back and watch the Munsters. When he's on the Dodgers and they have all those
I don't remember that one.
Players.
Wait, he actually played Munster?
Yes, he tried out and he's cranking home runs.
That's awesome.
It's insane.
Well, I think Rob Zombie's making an update on the Munsters.
Yeah, they already
my
built the
goodness.
house.
Like,
a few months ago,
is
they
it a
built the
horror?
house. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. The people that are in it just are people that his wife is going to play.
Okay.
Yeah. They could have find. They could have.
Who's going to be Grandpa Munster? Because he's the best.
It's that guy that. So if you remember The Fugitive, do you remember The Fugitive? Wall. He's one of the cops in The Fugitive, but I think the thing he's most famous for, not most famous. If you watched Home Alone on Movies That Made Us, he was the guy that when Daniel Stern held out for money, he was the guy that they booked actually before they were going to hire Larry Hankin. I forget the guy's name, but he's in a ton of stuff. Like, he's a character actor. I'm like, oh man, he's.
You know what? I went to David Letterman when I was in college, and Grandpa Munster was one of the guests. He came out in full garb.
Oh, great!
And in real life, he was a dirty old man. Like, he was like, how Bob Saget, is so clean on the show. God rest his soul. He's so clean, but he's one of the most filthy comedians out there. He was. So Grandpa Munster comes across but he really was a dirty old man, and his character, like I think he just lived for that character because he came out in full garb. Yeah.
No, it's great when you get a role like that. That's what you can be known for. And he lived to it. I think I've only seen him normal in Car 54. Where are you? When they remade that movie? Well, they made the show into a movie. That's the only thing I remember him not being Grandpa. So then we get Anthony. He comes back to the house. He's looking for Joey. He's nowhere to be found. This is where that long scene with Cassandra, because she goes, "Oh, Carolyn seems to have had a breakdown."
So stupid.
And to convince you, is that like Ghost 101? If you want to convince a person that's living that you're alive, have him grab your boob. She takes his hand, pulls her boob out, and puts it on. Like, what?
Works every time.
God, man. I wrote, wouldn't holding hands be sufficient? And then he wants her gone, and then they start kissing. He says to leave the house, and then they start making out. Why doesn't he just move? That's what makes no sense. To solve this issue, now if he left, so if they had a scene, again, this would have made the movie longer, but if the movie was better, and they had a scene of him leaving and going somewhere, and she was with him, then boom, that's fine. Like Insidious, like when they thought the house would haunt it, but the kid was really haunted, or the spirit was with him, then cool, that's fine. But he has a chance to leave. Why is he telling her to leave?
Well, maybe he put a down payment on the house and he can't leave at this point.
She's probably so cheap. He's a struggling artist. It's probably $100 a month, and he's like, "Oh, this
she's
is
freeloading
great.
at this point. She doesn't own the house."
She is. That's true. Dude, and then how about Joey? He comes into the house, and at this very same time, it's like a day after tomorrow in the house.
Snowstorm.
There's like a snowstorm happening.
Yeah.
He's slow-mo going up the stairs. Meanwhile, at the same time, Cassandra, is it the same knife that she stabbed Julio with? Because she has a knife. She's trying to fight Anthony over the knife.
She really doesn't leave the room, right? I mean, is that, you only see her in that room or in the basement, right? Those are the only two rooms you see her in?
Well, we see her at the window, and we see her at the window.
So it's probably the same knife.
It's probably the same knife, yeah. But then we get so Anthony knocks her on the ground. Then he grabs a chair. He starts whacking the mirror over and over again. And then Joey is trying to get he's trying to get into that room however he can, but he just can't seem to do it. And then this is the part then Anthony gets sucked into the mirror.
That took forever. Like it was a slow motion scene of him getting sucked into the mirror. Like the movie dragged as it is, you had to drag even more. Like they probably could have saved an extra between all the slow motions, long time getting to a certain point, could have saved maybe another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And then he's in the mirror screaming. So Joey finally gets into the room, and can he hear him, or can he see him?
it sounded like he heard him. I thought it sounded like he heard him.
Oh, okay. Because he's looking into the mirror, so I'm like, can he barely see him? Because we can see him.
So is the mirror like that thing in Superman 2? Or is it like? Is there like? Can he go anywhere in there? Like, is it like a black hole, or is he just stuck in that mirror like Superman 2? Like they had nowhere to go.
Well, now I'm pissed that you told me in the next one, which I'm not going to watch, but in the next one, he has a different name, because that would make sense in the next movie. If he's operating the mirror, he's walking around, maybe his feet can come out like the Flintstones. He could pop his feet out and walk around as the mirror and stick his arms out or something. But no, the fact that he's stuck in the mirror screaming, Joey's like, Anthony, and then boom, right? He has to sit there and watch his brother get murdered. And then what makes no sense is, his brother gets murdered. He falls on the ground. Mark Ruffalo's dead. And then Cassandra starts like convulsing. She turns into sand.
See, now it would have been better if now, because that Anthony's in the mirror, she's alive. And every time she looks in a mirror, she sees Anthony. See? Now we got a movie. No.
Or something. The end of the movie should have been as a teaser for, like, it could have been no time. Somebody moving into the house and Anthony in the mirror or something.
Basically, no one survives. But that might have been like their idea. Like, listen, no one's going to watch this garbage, because if someone survives, that means we may have to make a sequel. They weren't planning on making a part 4. So let's kill all the characters and let's just kill this franchise.
I gotta say, this movie had to be involved with money laundering or something. Somebody needed to clean money, because
I think this movie was to get a high grade at NYU film school. It literally looks like just the acting, the way the video camera, like, again, follows her to the banister, and like it just the car chase in the beginning with the videos. It just looks like a student made film. Like, it looks like a very low.
Yeah,
it obviously was a very low budget film. That's why there's not that many actors in it. I wonder if they all put their own money into it, because did Ruffalo?
I don't know if they would have put their money in it, but they were all young. But I'm sure they must have or they shot
like
it
Blair Witch. This
really
looks like a Blair Witch kind of movie. So
yeah. Oh man, so that's Mirror 3 The Voyeur. Jamie, you already said obviously you wouldn't watch it. Is there anything? Because I feel like a lot of the movies, there's nothing you can change. Yeah,
I could. Not the writer, the director, and the cameraman make sure they didn't make the movie. I would say, again, I'm still amazed that there's 4 of these movies. So I like, you got to assume the first one probably was really low budget, wasn't that good, so they wanted to improve on it. Part 2, okay, but we know how sequels sometimes work. But the fact they made this one. And again, maybe at this point, this could have been like the Superman 3, Quest for Fire, or whatever, Superman 4, knowing like, all right, we really jumped it. It's not a good movie. But they made another one after this. Like, this movie looks like it should have been like the end of the franchise. Like, all right, we destroyed it, like the franchise. The movie's horrible. Like, it's just really bad. We can't make another one. No, let's make another one. Like, I don't understand. I really don't understand that. Like, I don't know how movies may get made. I don't know how it got made.
Yeah, honestly, like, and then the fact that the second one had Roddy McDowall in it, like,
yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, I almost want to watch the trailer. I'll never watch these movies ever again. I really hope we don't get anyone for 4. But I'm just curious to see the trailer for 4, and 2. I'm actually gonna watch all the trailers just to see where it started from. Yeah.
Oh. That's 8 minutes, man.
I didn't say in one day. I'm just going to say, it's just I got to spread it out a little bit.
I'll piecemeal it, 30 seconds each day. But yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend watching it. The only thing for me, funny wise, was just how overacting Julio did, and he was Cheech Marin. And that line, again, I wouldn't tell somebody to watch this movie just for the line, but I'm really tempted to make a best of Julio, and put it on our Twitter or on YouTube. Just his line when he says "You're the only woman I ever loved" this morning.
You know what? Just watch the trailer, and you'll have an idea what we went through. Because the trailers are bad too. So I mean, it gives you an idea.
All right, so that's it. And I think we're gonna go on a good run. So if we're like, our beloved Knicks on a losing streak, I think right now we're gonna go on a winning streak. Really, I think for a while we got some goodies. One isn't a goodie, but it's definitely fun. But the next one and the next sequel we're reviewing is sort of in honor of Mardi Gras coming up, Hangover 3, and we interviewed, my mother-in-law. I mean, Doug's mother-in-law in the movie, and Alan's mother, Linda, played by the amazing Sandra Curry. Sandra talked about how she broke into the industry and how she made it happen for herself. Then we talked about, what she called slice 'em dice 'em movies that she made in the 70s, like Policewoman, Jesse's Girls, Fugitive Lovers, and more. Plus, she guest starred on pretty much every show and had stories about all the people, like Three's Company, and just being there within like the 3 different years over the run. She was there on different guest starring roles, and just she loved John Ritter. She knew him really well. And she was fun to chat with. And what's wild is her sister is Runaways founder.
That's
Cherie
awesome.
Curry.
That's so awesome.
Such a great chat. Sandra was awesome. And so don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com.
Good night.
Good night.